Hey everybody, Lonnie here. So I'm happy to report that we are on our last part 14. We're going to deploy the Atmo application that we've created to Firebase that's serverless hosting. So we don't have to set up a server, configure anything like that. This is going to be super straightforward and simple. And yeah, this will be the final episode of this series. It was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be initially, but I think it's been great to go through all this and just see how every part stacks together and what a complete end-to-end example looks like. So just to look at our architecture real quick, we're done with everything except deploying the application to Firebase. We've read the weather from our weather station. We've got forecasting data from Dark Sky. We've created collectors to deploy those to Azure Functions and then to the OCS and writing data to the OSIsoft Cloud Services. And now we're reading that data out through an API, also deployed as Azure Function. And the last thing to do is just to deploy this last part to Firebase. So let's go ahead and do that. Should not take too long. So real quick about Firebase. Firebase is from Google. If you haven't heard of it, it's a pretty awesome product. I've used it a few times for personal projects. I find it super easy to use, straightforward, and what we're going to use, there's different components with Firebase that you can use. There's a real-time database, there's storage, and what we're going to use here is the hosting, basically just how to deploy a web app. The nice thing is there's free plans, so you can do a lot of this stuff. If it's just personal projects or evaluating technology, you can try everything out for free. So it's nice in that regard too. And so before you get started, you need to install the Firebase CLI. It's what we're going to use to initiate to initialize our project and to deploy it. One second. Okay, so using the Firebase CLI is what we're going to use to initialize our project and to deploy it to Firebase. So you'll also need to get a Google account and sign up for Firebase before doing this. But installing the CLI, I already have it installed here, but basically you go in and npm is what I used, and I just executed that line to get the tools installed. And whatever operating system you're using, you can go through the CLI here and get that up and running. Okay, so once you have the CLI working and you have a Firebase account, then we can come over here, we can do Firebase, and we're going to initialize the project, and it'll ask us a bunch of questions. We'll go through and answer those, and then we'll deploy. So the first thing is asking, let's see, we're outside our home directory, that's fine. Are we ready to proceed? Yes. And I'm going to use the Firebase hosting here because that's the feature that we're going to take advantage of. And let's see, which Firebase error? Oh, let's try this again. I should have used spacebar, not enter. Okay, so yes, we're ready to proceed. And we'll come down here, and I'm going to press the spacebar now to select it, then press enter. And then we're going to create a new project here. And the project name, I'm going to call this Atmo Demo. And what would you like to call the project? We can use the project ID as a default, that's fine. Now it's going to go up into Firebase and get everything configured, and it'll also set up our project so that we can do a simple deployment. Okay, now the hosting setup, your public folder is a folder relative to your project directory that will contain the hosting assets. So in this case, we have a distribution folder that we have, and then when we do a build, we end up with this distribution atmo-ui. That's our public folder. So we want to type in that atmo or dis/atmo UI. Then it'll go in and it'll publish the contents of that folder. And then configures a single page app. In this case, this is really a single page app. We don't have any routing or anything like that going on. So I'm going to have it configured as a single page app. And then let's see, file disk Atmo index HTML overwrite, because we already have a build in there. That's fine. You can overwrite it. And then writing configuration information, everything's completed. So I'm going to do an ng build to get everything built. And then I'm going to do a deploy. So we'll do a build. And then we can do a deploy. Before we deploy, I just want to mention that a couple files were added here. This Firebase file here, Firebase RC, and also this Firebase JSON folder. So you shouldn't have to really go in here and adjust anything. But like for instance, if your public folder was wrong or whatever, you can go in and change that. All right, so let's do a Firebase, and then we'll just do deploy. Okay, everything's been deployed, and it gives us the console. So let's go ahead and go to the console. I'll control click, and we'll open that link, and we can take a look at what the here's our Atmo demo, and it shows that we have it deployed. I can come over and click on hosting, and we can see what the hosting information looks like. It has a couple of ways that we can get to our site, and then it's just showing the last deployment, and it's not showing any files. That's interesting. Let's see what happens when we click on this, see if we get it loaded. Okay, so there we go. So this is now running in Firebase as atmo-demo web.app, and you can see that everything loaded. I could put this on my phone, run it on my phone, pass this link to anybody, and they can be able to access this information. So literally, I think it took us a couple of minutes just to get this deployed to Firebase, and that is the conclusion of this project. So I'm super happy with the results. And just to go back, think about what we've done here under our architecture. I mean, we've used a lot of different technologies here. We've used Azure Functions. We just used Firebase. We're using OSIsoft Cloud Services. And, taking all that together without standing up servers, without messing around with domains and firewalls and all this other configuration. We don't have to go in and update, patch, or do any of that kind of maintenance. If this was a real world application, it could just run in the cloud. There's all kinds of things that you can go beyond this as far as DevOps go, as setting up pipelines for production, when you build projects and you have a team. So the whole concept of serverless deployments, this kind of stuff is really going to become pretty normal, I feel like, as we move forward, and this is going to be a very typical type of projects that we're going to be doing as developers. So anyway, if you have any comments or you'd like to see more videos around this technology, anything that I've talked about here, please post it in the comments. If you like the content that I'm giving, press the subscribe button. The more subscribers I get, the more motivated I'll be to do videos. And anyway, that's a wrap. I hope that you found this informative and helpful, and I'm hoping that I can find some time to do some more of these types of things going forward. My name's Lonnie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.